swarming like flies round Waterloo Underground.
10 betrayals. One band. 32 years of two brothers from Muswell Hill doing things to each other that most families never come back from.
Telling tales of drunkenness and cruelty.
You know the riff. Everybody knows the riff. Dave Davies took a razor blade to his amplifier speaker in 1964 and invented the sound of hard rock in about 4 seconds.
All day and all night.
What you don't know is what those 4 seconds cost. Because from that moment on, the Kinks didn't just fight. They betrayed each other, over and over, publicly, in hotel rooms, in courtrooms, in autobiographies, on stage in front of 5,000 people, 12 of them, counting down. 10. Larry Page walks out of America. Summer, 1965. The Kinks land in America at the absolute peak of the British invasion, and everything falls apart in about 6 weeks. The tour was a package deal. 1 show a day, a stack of support acts, 40-minute sets.
Over the river, where they feel safe and sound.
Some nights, the promotion was so thin the seats were half empty, which meant promoters couldn't pay the band up front the way they'd promised. So the band started punishing the audience for it. A 20-minute set in Reno instead of the contracted 40. In Sacramento, they stretched "You Really Got Me" out until the room begged for mercy. And then Ray got into it with a man backstage in Hollywood, a man who'd been hurling insults about the British, and Ray hit him. Here's the problem. That man was connected to the Union. But that's not the betrayal. This is. Partway through the tour, with about a week to go, their own manager, Larry Page, got on a plane and went home to London. Left them there, in a country they didn't understand, with promoters who weren't paying, in a band that was already coming apart at the seams. Then the complaints landed at the American Federation of Musicians, and the union simply stopped issuing them work permits.
Millions of people.
4 years. From 1965 to 1969, 4 years. Think about what 4 years meant in the 60s. They went in as peers of the Beatles and the Stones. They came out on the other side into a world that had Woodstock, Hendrix, Sgt. Pepper, and had basically forgotten them. Ray later said the band took the best years of the band's career at the exact moment the original 4 were at their absolute peak.
I stay at home at night.
And here's what nobody says out loud. They never fully got those years back. Not commercially, not in America.
Over the river, where they feel safe and sound.
If you were an American kid in 1967 wondering why you never got to see them, now you know. And I'd love to hear from anyone whose parents were at one of those 65 shows, because there aren't many of you left.
Every Friday night.
9. The question Pete Quaife wasn't allowed to ask. Pete Quaife founded this band. Let's be clear about that, because history keeps getting it wrong. He and Ray started the Ravens in 1962. Pete's the one who suggested bringing Ray's little brother in on guitar. Without Quaife, there is no Kinks. Dave said exactly that when Pete died, that there simply wouldn't have been a band. And by the mid-60s, Pete had a simple question. Where's the money? It's not an unreasonable question. He's playing bass on some of the biggest singles in Britain. And what he described later was a wall. Nobody would answer him. He said the accountants weren't permitted to speak to him about the band's finances. He came to feel like he wasn't a partner in anything, just a bloke holding a bass. And here's the part that turns it from bad management into betrayal. The money genuinely was a nightmare. Ray had signed away enormous percentages of his earnings early on. There was a publishing fight that dragged on for years and choked off royalties. Ray sat in court in 1968 and took the whole weight of it on his own back. But he took it alone. He didn't share it. He didn't explain it. And the man standing next to him on stage every night was left to assume the worst. That's a specific kind of wound, being kept in the dark by people who are protecting you badly. Ray eventually turned all of it into an album. 1970s Lola vs. Power Man and the Money Go Round, Part 1. He named names in those songs. He aimed straight at the managers and the publishers and the whole rotten carousel. Great record, one of his best. Pete Quaife wasn't in the band anymore when it came out.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
8. Death of a Clown, July 1967. Dave Davies is 20 years old, burnt out on 4 straight years of parties he doesn't remember with people he doesn't like. And he sits down at the family piano and writes about feeling like a circus animal. Death of a Clown. It goes to number 3 in the UK, right behind Waterloo Sunset, his first solo single, and it's a genuine, enormous hit. Except, pay attention to this. The record credited to Dave Davies was played by the Kinks. Ray produced it. Ray contributed that hypnotic La 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 hook. Rasa sang on it. Nicky Hopkins played that eerie intro by attacking the strings inside a piano with finger picks. So the Kid Brothers' big independent moment was, in every practical sense, made by the same machine he was trying to step outside of. The follow-up, Susanna's Still Alive, charted at 20. A full solo album got scheduled, sessions happened, songs got recorded, and it never came out, ever. Fans call it the album that never was. Nobody killed it with a phone call. It just stopped. Interest drifted. Priorities went elsewhere. Dave himself admits he wasn't ready and backed away from it. But here's the line that lands. Years later, in his own autobiography, Ray waved the whole thing off, dismissing Death of a Clown as his brother's brief attempt at being respectable and saying Dave was always going to be the clown. That's not a critique. That's a verdict printed in a book about your brother's best work. And honestly, I'll say it, Dave Davies is one of the most undercredited guitarists of the entire British invasion. And I don't think that's close. Some of you have been arguing this in comment sections for 20 years. You're right. 7 April 1969, Quaife leaves for good. He'd already left once. June 1966. After a serious car crash, Pete stepped away and John Dalton came in.
Now I'm sitting here, sipping at my...
By November, he was back. Everybody moved on. But something was different the second time. 1968 gave the world The Kinks Are the Village Green Preservation Society, which is now, correctly, regarded as one of the greatest British albums ever made. Pete loved making it. He said Ray softened during those sessions, actually listened to everyone's ideas for once. And then, in Pete's telling, the album finished, and Ray went straight back to being Ray. The record sold almost nothing. It didn't chart in Britain. It didn't chart in America. The most beautiful thing they ever made landed in total silence.
'Cause I love to live so pleasantly.
Pete left in April 1969, right before the Arthur sessions began. And Mick Avery said something about it decades later that I can't get out of my head, that with those four personalities, nobody in that band ever really felt permanent. Nobody, not the founder, not the drummer, not anyone. Here's what makes it a betrayal rather than a departure. Quaife spent the rest of his life watching a band he co-founded become a legend without him. He turned down an invitation from Eric Clapton to join Cream, if you can believe that. He moved to Denmark. He drew. He spent over a decade on kidney dialysis. He died in June 2010. And Dave's tribute said, the quiet part out loud, that Pete was never really given the credit he deserved for what he put into that sound.
And I love to live,
30 years too late is still too late.
to live so pleasantly. Live this life.
6. The Chip, 1971.
I believe that you and me last forever.
Ray Davies is 27. He's written Waterloo Sunset. He's written Lola.
Oh, come on!
He's arguably the finest lyricist England has produced since the war. He and Dave are sitting at a table. Dave takes a chip off Ray's plate. Ray stabs him in the hand with a fork.
At nighttime, yours, leave me never.
I know. I didn't believe it either the first time I read it, but it's one of the most consistently repeated stories in the entire Kinks canon, and neither brother has ever exactly rushed to deny it.
At nighttime, yours, leave me never.
And here's why it's on this list instead of being a funny anecdote at the pub. Because this is the year Muswell Hillbillies is coming together. An album about their own family, their own street, their own working-class North London, made with more tenderness than almost anything else in their catalog. They could write about home like nobody else alive. They just couldn't eat a meal together. Stay with me on this one, because it's the key to the whole story. The Kinks weren't a band that occasionally fought. They were two people who could only access love through the music. In a song, Ray could tell you exactly what his brother meant to him. Across a table, with a plate of chips between them, he could not. If you've ever had a relationship where the only honest conversations happen sideways, through a joke, through a shared song, through anything except actually saying it, you already understand the Kinks better than most biographers do.
At nighttime, yours, leave me never.
A fork in the hand over a chip. That's not anger. That's something older than anger.
The only time I feel alright is by your side.
5. White City, July 1973.
And though you're gone, you're with me every day.
Sunday, July 15th, 1973. The Great Western Express Festival at White City Stadium, London. Gray, damp, miserable day. The Kinks aren't even top of the bill anymore, which tells you where things stand. 3 weeks earlier, Rasa had left Ray and taken their 2 daughters. She left him a note. That's how he found out. Dave later said Ray had been acting strange all day, and nobody knew why. 4 songs in, Ray swore into the microphone and told the crowd he'd had enough.
Those endless days, the sacred days you gave me.
A few songs after that, he kissed his brother on the cheek, thanked the audience, and said goodbye. He just quit the band on stage, in front of everyone, and nobody in the band knew it was coming. Think about that from Dave's side for a second. You're standing 8 feet away with a guitar around your neck, and your brother ends your career from the front of the stage without warning you. The Melody Maker journalist who was there wrote something that has stayed with me for 50 years. That when Ray shouted, "I quit," what he should have shouted was, "Help," because that's what it actually was. Later that night, Ray was rushed to hospital. He had taken pills, and he nearly didn't make it. Years afterward, he acknowledged plainly that it had been a suicide attempt. And here's the thing I keep landing on. The betrayal in this entry cuts both ways. Yes, he blindsided his band. But a man that far gone had spent years being the one everybody leaned on, carrying the lawsuits, the business, the whole weight of it, and nobody around him had noticed how bad it had got. He came back. The band carried on for another 23 years, but something in the middle of it never healed. For 1984, they programmed a machine instead of him.
I'm gonna die in dead end street. Dead end.
20 years. That's what Mick Avery gave the Kinks. Nearly every album from 1966 onward. The most recorded member of the band outside the 2 brothers.
Dead end street.
And by the early 80s, he and Dave couldn't be in a room together. It had been building since Cardiff, which we'll get to.
Dead end street. Dead end street.
Avery used to throw drumsticks at Dave mid-song. The tension became a running joke in the crew, then a logistical problem, then a wall.
Morning, wipe my eyes and stop me on.
So during the word-of-mouth sessions, here's the detail that ends it. They used a drum machine on Good Day.
Dead end street. People are dying on dead end street.
Sit with that. One of the great British rock drummers, in the building, on the payroll, 20 years in.
Dead end street. Dead end street. Dead end.
And they programmed a box because his bandmate wouldn't work with him. Ray's explanation was blunt. The 2 of them simply couldn't get on, and he had reached the point where he couldn't handle it anymore.
Dead end street. People are living in dead end street.
Don't Avery ended up on 3 tracks of that album. Bob Henrit played the rest. And in 1984, by agreement with Ray, he stopped being a Kink.
Get the chance. People living.
Now here's the part that reframes everything. Mick Avery was Ray's best friend in that band. Not a hired hand, the friend. And Ray let him go anyway, because the alternative was losing his brother.
Feel? How do you feel? Dead end street.
That's the choice at the center of this whole story. Every single time, Ray chose Dave, even when Dave was the problem, even when it cost him people he loved. Avery stayed on to manage Conk, the band's own studio, for decades. He never really left the orbit. He just stopped being allowed inside it. 3, they sold the feud. By the 90s, the Kinks had figured out something genuinely unusual. If you can't stop the war, monetize it. 1993, Phobia. Their 24th and final studio album. And on it, there's a track called Hatred, a duet, where Ray and Dave trade insults at each other. Not metaphorically, not through characters. The two of them, on microphone, going at each other for the record-buying public. Dave has said the inspiration came from a scene in Barfly, where a man listens to a couple screaming through the wall and observes that hatred is the only thing that really lasts. They put it out as a single, and here's where it goes from dark comedy to something colder. In 1995, Ray published his autobiography. In 1996, Dave published his. 2 books, 2 versions of the same 30 years, each one settling scores, the other would then have to answer. They didn't just fight in public, they published in public. Some of you are nodding right now because you've read both of them, and you know that reading them back to back is one of the strangest experiences in rock literature. Two brothers describing the same childhood, the same rooms, the same night, and barely agreeing on anything. I'd argue that's the single loneliest thing on this entire list, not the violence. This. 2 people who lived the exact same life and could not agree on what happened in it. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990, by the way, right in the middle of all this. To Cardiff, 19th May, 1965. The Capitol Theater. Around 5,000 people, mostly teenagers. The night before, in Taunton, Dave and Mick Avery had a drunken fight. Avery won it. Everyone went to bed angry. The next night in Cardiff, 2 songs into the set, Dave kicks Avery's drum kit over. Then he turns around and says something to him that I'm not going to repeat here. Avery comes off the stool with the pedal from his hi-hat and hits Dave over the head with it. Dave goes down, unconscious, bleeding on the stage, and the crowd cheers. Because the Kinks had a violent reputation by then, and 5,000 people genuinely believed it was part of the act. Dave was taken to Cardiff Royal Infirmary and received 16 stitches. An announcer told the theater the band wouldn't be returning. The Yardbirds filled the rest of the bill. Avery ran into the streets convinced he had just killed his bandmate and hid. Police found him later. When he tried to deny it, Ray's version of the exchange is that the police pointed out they had 5,000 witnesses. They wanted to charge him with attempted murder. Here's the twist nobody expects. Dave wouldn't press charges. He wrote later that he didn't want to land Mick in it, and that he was thinking about what it would mean for the band's future. The 17-year-old with 16 stitches in his head protected the man who put them there. Because the Kinks had a U.S. tour in 6 weeks, and they went, and it destroyed them. Ray said afterwards that could have been the end of the Kinks right there. It wasn't. It was worse than that. It was the beginning of 30 more years. 1 February 1997, The Cake. The Clissold Arms, a pub in Muswell Hill, North London. You need to understand where this is. It sits directly across the road from 6 Denmark Terrace, the house both brothers were born in, the house with 6 older sisters in it.
But she turned her back on stardom because
The house where a big sister named Renee bought Ray his first guitar and then died at 31.
Rudolph Valentino.
That pub is where the Davies brothers played their first gig. It is, in every meaningful sense, the beginning of the story.
Everybody's in movies. It doesn't matter who.
It's February 1997. Dave is turning 50. The band had played its last shows the year before.
Where you can see all the stars as you walk down Hollywood.
And Dave couldn't afford the party, so Ray paid for it. Let me say that again because it matters. Ray paid for his brother's 50th. Everyone's there. The cake comes out, Dave picks up the knife, and Ray gets up on the table, makes a speech about himself, and then stamps on the cake. That's the last chapter of the Kinks. Not a final gig, not a press release. A ruined cake on a pub floor, 50 yards from the bedroom they shared as boys.
She wanted to be alone.
Dave's explanation years later is the most devastating thing either brother has ever said about the other. He said Ray genuinely wanted him to have good things, but couldn't stand to see him actually have them. That's it.
Who you are. There are stars in every city.
That's 32 years in one sentence. And if you've ever loved somebody who could not tolerate your happiness, not out of cruelty, but out of something broken so far back neither of you can find it, you already knew how this list was going to end. They never toured together again.
Who